The Roman Empire, once the most powerful civilization in the world, dominated Europe, North Africa, and parts of the Middle East for centuries. Its unmatched influence shaped much of the modern world, from governance to architecture, language, and culture. But how did such a mighty empire collapse? The answer lies in a complex interplay of economic, political, military, and social factors that unfolded over centuries. The story of Rome's fall begins in the 3rd century AD, a time when the empire was already facing significant challenges. While the empire was at its territorial peak under Emperor Trajan in the early 2nd century AD, cracks had started to appear in its foundation. These cracks were not immediately visible but slowly grew over time, undermining the empire's strength. One of the major reasons for the collapse was economic instability. The Roman Empire's vast size made it difficult to manage effectively. Communication across such a sprawling territory was slow, and coordinating defense, taxation, and administration became increasingly problematic. Frequent wars along the empire's borders drained the treasury, leaving little room for investments in infrastructure or economic growth. Heavy taxation further burdened the population, leading to resentment and unrest. Additionally, Rome's reliance on slave labor created a stagnant economy, as technological innovation was stifled in favor of cheap manual labor. Over time, this economic stagnation eroded the empire's ability to adapt to new challenges. Another significant factor contributing to the fall of Rome was constant invasions. The Roman Empire's vast borders made it a target for numerous external threats. Germanic tribes, including the Visigoths, Ostrogoths, and Vandals, launched repeated attacks. The Huns, led by the fearsome Attila, swept across Europe, displacing other tribes and adding to the pressure on Rome's frontiers. The sacking of Rome by the Visigoths in 410 AD marked a major turning point. For the first time in nearly 800 years, Rome itself had fallen to a foreign invader, shattering the illusion of invincibility that had surrounded the empire. Political corruption and instability also played a critical role. Rome's government became increasingly dysfunctional as power struggles and greed overtook civic duty. During the 3rd century AD, Rome experienced a period known as the Crisis of the 3rd Century, during which over 20 emperors ruled in rapid succession. Many of these emperors were overthrown, assassinated, or lacked the legitimacy to govern effectively. This political chaos left the empire vulnerable to both internal decay and external threats. The division of the empire into eastern and western halves in 285 AD under Emperor Diocletian further complicated matters. While this division was intended to make administration more manageable, it created a sense of separation and competition between the two halves. The Eastern Roman Empire, later known as the Byzantine Empire, benefited from a wealthier economy and more defensible borders. In contrast, the Western Roman Empire faced relentless invasions and dwindling resources. Over time, the disparity between the two halves grew, and the western half struggled to survive. Environmental factors may have contributed to the empire's decline as well. Historians and scientists have noted evidence of climate change during this period, which likely affected agricultural productivity. Droughts, colder temperatures, and changing rainfall patterns led to food shortages, exacerbating social unrest. Famine and disease weakened the population, further straining the empire's ability to respond to external threats. The rise of Christianity also shifted the cultural and political dynamics of the empire. Before Christianity became the dominant religion, Roman society was deeply rooted in polytheistic traditions that emphasized loyalty to the state and its gods. The adoption of Christianity as the state religion under Emperor Constantine in the early 4th century AD marked a profound cultural shift. While Christianity provided a unifying moral framework for many, some historians argue that it diverted focus from traditional Roman values and weakened the state's cohesion. The church's growing influence often conflicted with the emperor's authority, creating additional tensions within the empire. Finally, in 476 AD, the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus, was overthrown by the Germanic leader Odoacer. This event is often marked as the end of the Western Roman Empire. However, it is important to note that this was not a sudden collapse, but rather the culmination of centuries of decline. By the time Romulus Augustulus was deposed, the Western Roman Empire had already lost much of its territory and influence. But the story of Rome did not end entirely. The Eastern Roman Empire, centered in Constantinople, carried on for nearly 1,000 years more. Known as the Byzantine Empire, it preserved much of Roman culture, law, and traditions while developing its unique identity. The Byzantine Empire would face its challenges, but it endured until the fall of Constantinople in 1453. The fall of the Western Roman Empire remains a powerful reminder of how even the greatest civilizations can collapse. It teaches us about the fragility of complex systems and the importance of adaptability, unity, and resilience. Rome's legacy, however, continues to shape our world today. From its legal systems to its architectural innovations, the influence of Rome can still be felt in countless ways. What lessons can we learn from Rome's fall? History often repeats itself, and by studying the past, we can better understand the challenges of the present and future. Comment below with your thoughts and insights on the fall of one of history's greatest empires.